Tonight, the desperate relief effort in Indonesia. Rescuers struggle to reach survivors of the earthquake and tsunami. Turnbull unloads on his predecessors, calling two ex-PMs miserable ghosts. Inside the deserted train tunnels of Sydney and the plan to open them to the public. And the courage of Cooper Cronk, a grand final played with a badly broken shoulder.
Let's get this party started and have a few more drinks,
Good evening, Juanita Phillips with ABC News. Indonesian rescuers are still searching for survivors from the earthquake and tsunami that brought devastation to Sulawesi Island. Heavy machinery has finally arrived and has been sifting through the ruins of a hotel where dozens of people are still believed to be trapped. The death toll from the twin disasters remains at 832 but is expected to climb. And there are grave concerns for survivors. Thousands of them are homeless and many still don't have power or vital supplies. Indonesia correspondent Anne Barker reports from Palu, the city at the epicentre of the disaster.
In just a matter of moments, the tsunami destroyed this city and left a sea of debris in its wake. The devastation is difficult to take in. These beachfront homes were swallowed by the sea. Now they're unmarked graves. Almost every house has a tragic story.
This was my whole family. I've lost my whole family. I've lost everything.
Up the road at Palu's Roa Roa Hotel, earth-moving equipment has only just arrived. Rescuers are racing to find 40 guests believed to have been in their rooms when this 7-storey building collapsed. This man heard voices crying for help just a few hours ago. He told them assistance was coming, even though at that point there wasn't any heavy equipment.
People were shouting, "I'm here, I'm here." I just heard the sound of their voices.
Yesterday, 7 people were pulled out alive. Rescuers have been using their bare hands to try and save more. Saumar Abdullah is looking for his friends who were staying in the hotel. He lost his wife at a restaurant on the beach, which was swept away by the tsunami. His missing friends had taken part in a paragliding competition that finished shortly before the earthquake struck.
Many of my friends, 7 here.
At a mosque in Donggala, families arrived to identify their loved ones. Andy and Flarahani Reynaldi find their only son, Rafi. He was playing with their 2 nieces at their house near the epicentre of the earthquake when it began to shake. The 3 young children didn't stand a chance.
I'm so sad, devastated. He was my only son, my only child, and he's just a little boy.
Less than half an hour later, a powerful tsunami swept in. They saw the entire village disappearing. Not a single house was left standing. 3 days after the quake and tsunami, people are only now returning to the beach at Palu, searching for any signs of missing family members. In one house, a woman's body is found. There's little time to grieve as religious rituals are carried out.
It's a sadly similar scene all along the beach here. Family find a body in the rubble. It's wrapped and prepared for burial, and neighbours and friends come to pray.
This tragedy has hit so many parts of this region, but there still remains hope in some places that some people could still be found alive. Anne Barker, ABC News, Palu.
Even as the search for survivors continues, questions are being asked about the failure of Indonesia's warning system. After the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami, 22 buoys were set up around the country as part of an international effort to upgrade disaster monitoring. The seabed has a series of sensors. When one detects an earthquake, it sends a signal to a buoy on the surface. The buoy then sends a signal to a satellite, which alerts officials on the ground. But none of these buoys has been operational since 2012. They've been damaged by fishing boats and haven't been repaired. A new warning system had been commissioned, but it was delayed because of a lack of funding. Australia is working closely with Indonesia to work out how we can help. Already there are moves afoot to raise money and gather other forms of aid. But as James Oaten reports, many families here are struggling to make contact with relatives in Sulawesi.
Lisa Hughes is supposed to be celebrating her son's 7th birthday in Melbourne, but she can't stop worrying about her family thousands of kilometres away in Indonesia.
It's just frightening to know that the situation is they even get worse.
Her brother Rahmat Satria lives in Palu. He made contact with the family in the early hours of Sunday, saying his home had been destroyed, but he had made it safely to a refuge. Since then, nothing.
I'd like to know what it is like. I'd like to talk to him, like just to hear his voice, to know that he's okay.
It's a similar story for Adelaide resident Inda Mashuri.
I saw the news and then, oh God, I just tried to ring my family, but I can't keep in touch with them.
Her mother, brother and sister live in Palu. She received a text message from her auntie saying they were safe, but still hasn't been able to get any further detail.
I'm not sure about this safe life, but no light, no food, no everything.
Getting information from Sulawesi has been a nightmare for Indonesians living in Australia, with communications down for much of the disaster zone. Community groups are banding together to provide emotional support.
We can imagine if we lost our family and our property. Yeah, very sad.
While also starting fundraising activities. About 10 community groups in Adelaide have organised a music concert this weekend.
I think that everyone should help.
It's very sad. So we just think what we can do here, even we're far away, but we need to do something.
Determined to help. James Oaten, ABC News.
Malcolm Turnbull has